Is the woman you're texting not holding up her end of the conversation? Hi there, men's dating coach Harry Wilmington here, founder of introvertdatingsuccess.com. And on today's show, we're answering a question from a guy on Reddit that wants to know why it is that a woman he sent a text to is not texting back and what he should do about it. And it really, I want to dive deep more into like the type of contact information that he got and why I feel like that's not really the best way to go when it comes to showing attraction and getting women to communicate with you. If you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to hit the subscribe button and the little bell icon to be notified when I post up new daily videos. Also, be sure to go to the website to download my free ebook, Texting Like a Boss, as well as clicking on the tip jar tab to show your support, the links of which are at the website and in the description below. Let's get into it. So I'm going to read this guy's message, which, by the way, if you're watching this on YouTube, you're about to see posted up next to me on screen. So if you're listening on the podcast, go to YouTube, type in the name Harry Wilmington, and you'll get to my page and you can see this on the video. But yeah, I'm going to read this message, and this is from a guy that basically met a girl, got her contact info, sent her a message, and then after one exchange, she hasn't texted him back since, and he's wondering if something's going on. And this is, there's a lot of things that are going on here. A big one is the miscommunication in how texting works, which is why I really do recommend you go to my website and download the ebook, because if you have any confusion about texting or why your texting methods aren't currently working or how to build attraction through text, then this free ebook is a really good get. All right, so that's at the website. But I'll read this guy's message and I'll stop and give my thoughts on things. The title is, Why Is She Ignoring Me? He goes, hey guys, I met this cute girl at work. We've seen each other sporadically 3 or 4 times maybe, but instantly clicked. She's been very engaging, asking lots of questions, and we have, at least I feel, a mutual connection going on. We've been talking a lot at work about many subjects of our personal lives. So far, I like this. I like the fact that he's been able to meet this girl at work and he's been able to have consistent communication with her. And anytime that they've talked, it's been engaging. These are positive signs. Now, obviously, being in a work environment, you do kind of want to caution on the side of, is this woman being nice specifically to me, or is this how she treats all people? Because that could be a thing that we misread. Like, women on the job being nice is not a new thing, but in an individualized experience, when she's talking to you, you might feel as though her niceness is specifically to you and that you're building something. And sometimes it could just simply be that she's at work and she knows how to be nice to people to keep the environment cordial and happy, okay? So, but that said, if you're at work minding your own business and she's constantly seeking you out, that's usually a good sign that she has some level of budding attraction for you. And oftentimes I would test this at work by, if it's a girl I'm seeing on a regular basis that I'm talking to, I'll be to myself and I won't try to approach her to see if she approaches me. And the more that happens, the more I get a good gauge of, oh, this woman's probably interested in me in this job environment. Continuing on, she's new to the city and she's been asking me about things to do and places to go. So when a woman does this, she's not just asking you to ask for information like, hey, let me know where to go in the city and I'll go by myself. When a woman's bringing this up, more often than not, it's meaning that she hopes, A, that you'll tell her about some cool things, and B, that ideally you'll want to get into those things with her because, oh, I need a guide to show me where these things are and what to do. And that is basically her way of being proactive. And I've talked about this on the show before, about how this whole thing about who chases whom. And I tell you guys that women that want you will start throwing out signals that you're supposed to get, but that is their way of pursuing you. And then if you are able to read the signal, then you can take that as a means to segue into a date, at which point she'll be able to say, oh, he asked me out one time, blah, 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 when really she's the one that presented the idea in a very passive way. But anyway, so he says, after she did that, I took the opportunity to propose to her to do something sometime. She answered positively along the lines of, I'd really love to. Now, you might hear that and think, okay, so that's pretty good. So what's the problem? Well, here's the problem. He took the opportunity to propose her to do something sometimes. None of those are concrete places or things to do. None of those are concrete times. None of those are suggestions of when would you be free to do these things. So in essence, he's basically saying we should hang out sometime. And this is something that a lot of guys do when they like a girl, but they're fearful that if they're too direct in wanting to do stuff with her, that they'll chase her away, or they'll recognize that she'll know that he has an interest in her and it's going to scare her away. And so this thing of doing this vague invite, like, hey, we should do something sometime, being available to do some fun things, that is not something that's going to win you a lot of dates. Okay, so you always, if you have an idea of something you want to do, ideally proposing that specific thing, or if you want to have it where you get her contact information first and then contact her later about it, then when you contact her, you still want to have a concrete idea of something, not just leaving it up to her, not doing this thing whereby you're going to try to negotiate with her on what you should do or asking her opinion on it. And that's like the worst thing you can do, guys, in terms of building attraction, is try to ask her, well, what do you think we should do? What kind of date would you like to go on? A strong man that's trying to lead does not do that. And women more often than not, want men that are going to lead the situation and be able to plan stuff without her. So this is a situation where she's already said she's new. She's looking for things to do, which means she's looking to you to find those things. She's not looking for you to help her figure out a thing to do, all right? So even with all that, she said, yes, I really love to. And so so I asked for her contact. She gave me her Facebook. So this is another mistake that a lot of guys are making, and it's this thing where basically, if you're asking for a woman's number and she gives you the social media, it's not the worst thing in the world, because I know today we have all different types of ways to like contact each other. But let's say you didn't have Facebook. Let's say you didn't have Instagram. Let's say you didn't have Snapchat or any other new thing that they've invented since this video was made. How would you contact her? Well, most of us have phones. Most of us have phone numbers. So regardless of what social media she has or that she tries to give to you, you always want to go for the number. That is the most direct way you're going to be able to contact her when you're not around her. And a woman that does not openly give you her number, I'd be suspicious of. Now, there's going to be people that watch this and say, Harry, you're an old fogey, you're 38, you're out of it. You know, you're probably dating older women that didn't grow up with social media. But the new generation of women, the ones that are in their early 20s to 30s, they're all about the social media. And if I don't take their social media and blah, 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 I want you to cut all that crap, okay? I date a wide variety age of women, ranging from early 20s to like early 40s. And in all these situations where I've met these various women from these various ages, when I try to get their social media, trying to contact them and get them on a date is like pulling teeth. And when I'm able to get the direct contact information by way of their phone number, I'm able to either call them or occasionally text them and set up more dates, okay? And what I've learned is that there's a difference between what women think that they need and what actually works. And you might have women that say, well, I only talk to guys through social media. But the reality is, if she was talking to a guy that she was highly attracted to that didn't have any social media and still wanted to get in contact with her, do you think she'd be giving the number? Of course she would, because her search for a guy that she wants to get with long term is long and hard. And when she finds a guy that she actually gels with, she's not going to suddenly put up all these rules to be able to contact her or make it like some kind of puzzle or maze. So you always want to go for the direct contact information, okay? It's going to get a better chance of you being able to connect with her. Now, there are women also out there that will do this trick where they'll say, well, you'll say like, hey, babe, give me a number. And they'll be like, well, I'll use my Facebook. This is a test. And this is a test to see if you're going to be able to be strong enough to get the thing you actually are asking for, which is the number, okay? And a lot of men fail this test because they're just like, well, we're just thinking, well, as long as I can contact her in whatever way, it's cool. And as long as she's let me contact her in some form or fashion, it means that she likes me. But women have different blockers. Men that are able to get the phone number do a lot better than men that are able to get social media, where she's now mixing you in with like everybody else she's possibly talking to. And so when this test happens, you cannot accept this as a form of contact. And I know it might seem weird. You're thinking, well, what if she rejects it, whatever. But again, she's testing you, A, to see if you're going to get what you want. And also she's testing your strength. She's going to throw this thing out there as a test to see how you're going to handle a situation where she's a little bit difficult. Okay. And so when she says something like, oh, well, I'll give you my Facebook, you need to almost darn near laugh and be like, how many guys has that worked on? Like getting the social media, like really, whatever. And then just hand her your phone and be like, look, just give me your number. I promise I'll only text you 7,000 times a day. Like make it a joke where she's going to see how ridiculous she is for not giving you the number. Most women that I've done this for, they'll be like, oh, yeah, no problem. Okay, sure, fine, whatever. And they'll type the number in and then we're good to go. Okay. So, and that's how you pass the test, is that you don't allow them to only give you the social media. And if it goes so far as where they're like, well, I just don't give my number out to strangers, blah, 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 you can just be like, you know what? That's cool. I'm good. You have a nice day. And walk off. Like, because if she's being difficult now in this situation, she's going to be even more difficult later on. But you may find by walking away, she might run up to you, hey, okay, no problem. Here's my number, here's my information, whatever. Gosh, okay, here it is. But it's like, you're still passing that test. She'll seem annoyed, but internally, she knows you're passing this test, all right? So don't do the social media situation. But continuing on, so he says, the next morning, I just texted her, hey, making a simple joke. Just to give you the context, I couldn't add her as a friend on Facebook. So I'm like, hi, I can't seem to add you as a friend. She adds me, then answers, I don't let anyone enter this circle, ha, ha, ha. So by the way, for girls that I'm just dating, I do not add them to my social media because that is now giving away some of the mystery of who you are. And as odd as it sounds, mystery, not knowing all about you, being kind of anxious as to wondering what kind of person you are, all these things are things that build attraction. When she's able to go on Facebook and see years of your pictures and years of your family and years of your tweets and years of your posts or whatever, that can actually cause her to lose interest in you because she's already knowing more about you by what she's reading. And it's going to be better for her to experience that in pockets here and there by way of dating than by getting a full transcript of you online somewhere. So until a woman becomes my girlfriend, I don't typically add her to my social media. Like it's just never a good thing. And then even when you're in a relationship, you can debate if you even want to do that or if you want to like just kind of get rid of your social media altogether. Because like I said, ultimately, it doesn't really service you that well to have a thing open where she can constantly look at your past life and stuff like that. Like it's not a thing that builds attraction as easily as being more mysterious and not letting her know everything. And then he says, I text back, so I definitely feel privileged now, ha ha ha. And then nothing. She hasn't answered for 3 days, and I'm scared to double text because I'm like, maybe she will ignore me again, and I don't want anything awkward. Why would she ignore me or not carry on the discussion? Any advice? Yes. Here's the question I have. Why didn't you ask a question? Like the response he sent back was, I definitely feel privileged now, ha ha. But that is not a question to her that gives her something to respond to. And I know you're probably thinking, well, in regular conversation, I don't always ask questions to a person. Like I should be able to just say a sentence and then she should just know to respond with something. And that's how I guess it technically should be, but that's not really realistic. The reality is, unless you're asking questions to women on texting, more often than not, it's a non-starter for them. So the way he answered, it's basically just like tacking on to what she said, and then it just dies down. So while he's been waiting for her to respond to whatever the sentence, I guess, was, she's probably sitting there thinking, okay, so we went through that. So now the next thing I'm waiting for is for him to ask me out. We already talked to the job about going out someplace. I already said that I'm cool with doing that. So now I'm waiting for him to hit me up with some info, hit me up, hey, so do you still want to go out? So, hey, I figured out some stuff else to get into. And so you got to be mindful of this, guys. You got to be mindful that on the other end of your texting, when you're not getting responses back, is a woman that could, in theory, have interest in you, but is waiting for you to send stuff that is more concrete to meeting in person. Because as I always like to say on the show, texting kills attraction. The best way to build attraction is to be with the person in person on an in-person date of some kind, or in the pandemic, we're doing like a Zoom date or whatever. But the point is, they need to see you. They need to be able to have an interaction with you, a conversation, an experience of some kind in the physical realm, not necessarily sex, but like physical, like, actively taking a walk together or going to some concrete place to like sit down and have a short meal or a coffee or whatever. And so most women, as I've said on the show before, aren't really interested in just having what I call pen pal conversations via text. They give out the number with the hope that you're going to use it to ask her on an actual date. And so when you try to come with these various sentences, oh, I'm having a great day today. Oh, I just, finished cooking this meal. Oh my God, I'm playing Nintendo, like whatever. These are just sentences. But these are not anything that's inviting her to the conversation. It's not anything that's asking her about her life that's going to give her incentive to want to talk to you. And it's not doing anything that's going to build attraction. So the reason this woman hasn't responded is because, very simply, he gave her nothing to respond to, and she's probably waiting for him to ask her out. So for you guys that are worried about texts dying down, this is what I tell you guys, is that texting is to be used specifically for setting up dates. Any other time that texting is not going on, that does not mean that the woman is not interested in you or is looking at somebody else. Because the relationships that I've had, I find that I only use the phone for setting up dates, and I also use it to respond to them. If they reach out to me to send some kind of flirty text or some kind of like little meme or whatever, then I'll respond to it and have a little banter back and forth, and then I lead that into, oh, by the way, when is the next time I'm going to see you? Let's set something up. but it's always leaning towards, I'm using this phone and this texting module to get a date. If you're using it for anything else than that, then you are ruining your chances of being able to keep the attraction of women that may have initially been interested. So if they're giving you the contact information, then get the date by using it, okay? And with that said, make sure you're getting the phone contact, not just the social media. If anything, you can tell girls initially, I don't really use social media that much, so give me your number. But do not let them trick you into just giving their social media, because they're going to do that and you're going to accept it, and then they're going to find themselves losing interest and not knowing why. A lot of times women will suggest you doing things that is to the detriment of their attraction, and they're not even aware of it. But you have to be aware of it so you can keep her attraction, and so you can hopefully get a date and lead towards a relationship with the woman that you're talking to. Now that you've heard from me, I'd like to hear from you. What have you found is the best way to keep a convo going with a woman you've just met? If you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to leave a comment down below or write to me at HarryWilmington@gmail.com. Are you ready to learn killer icebreakers that attract women on dating apps? Go to introvertdatingsuccess.com right now to check out my free video training, How to Get Attractive, Feminine, Emotionally Stable Women Dying to Respond to Your First Messages on Dating Apps Without Using Sleazy Pickup Lines, which will give you key secrets to sparking attraction and conversations with women online the smart way. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, and comment on this video, and catch new episodes 7 days a week right here on YouTube or wherever podcasts can be found. In the meantime, be sure to check out these other episodes so that you too can date as your introverted self while still getting your precious alone time. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.